Learn English Extra presents Time from Module 1. Thank you for watching this extra video. Time is expressed many ways: 10 o'clock, 10:09, morning, nighttime, or evening. We will talk about all of them in this video, but our focus is on the clock. Prerequisite means you're required to do something before doing this. The prerequisite of this video is to watch Lesson 5, Use Numbers, so you know the names of numbers well before you learn time. Look for the link for Lesson 5 in the description box below. There are three ways of telling or expressing the time. These three ways are rarely mixed up, but they are all used by native speakers. The first way. The first way is the most common, but it's the most difficult. We start with the numbers 1 through 12. The arrows on a clock face are called hands. On these clocks, the longer hand points to the 12 and the shorter hand points to the hour of the day. The first clock's short hand points to the 2, so it's 2 o'clock. We say o'clock, which is a short form of the Old or Ancient English meaning of the clock. The other two clocks show 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, or in short form, it's 2, it's 6, it's 9. Military time is a 24-hour clock, which we will talk about later. If the time does not end in o'clock or zeros, and the long hand is on the numbers on the right-hand side of the clock, 1 through 5, we say it's past or after the hour, using the numbers of minutes. It's 5 past 3, meaning 3 o'clock, or it's 25 minutes after 4. When you use the word after instead of past, you need to include the word minutes. But when using past, the word minutes is optional. It's 5 minutes past 3. It's 5 past 3. Both are okay. But 5 minutes after 3 is okay, but it's 5 after 3 is kind of awkward and not often used. Each number of the clock represents 5 minutes. So 1 is 5 minutes, 2 is 10 minutes, 3 is 15 minutes, and so on. People usually round up or down to the nearest multiple of 5. In this first way, native speakers also quarter the clock when the long hand is on the 3, and half the clock when the long hand is at 6. Still past or after apply. It's a quarter past 3. It's half past 1. We don't say it's half after 1. We just say it's 1:30. When the large hand is on the left-hand side, the numbers 7 to 11, we use the words before and to. It's 5 minutes before 3, or it's 5 minutes to 3. When the large hand is on the 9, we use quarter again. It's a quarter before 4, or it's a quarter to 4. we don't use half on this side of the clock. See why it's confusing or more difficult? If you're talking to someone from another country or making a future date, you should use morning, afternoon, evening as clues to the time. For example, we'll meet at 6 o'clock a.m. a.m. is a clue. Or we'll meet at 6 in the morning. In the morning is the clue. When talking to someone in a distant country on the phone, you might say, it's 15 minutes past 6 in the evening here. The second way. This way is much easier. It uses the time as if you're looking at a digital clock. You could say, it's 5:59. Or most people round up or down to the nearest multiple of 5, and so they'd say it's 6 o'clock. In the second way, keep in mind that any minutes less than 10 minutes use O as the 0 in the number. For example, 2:03. This way of telling time is usually used when someone specifically asks what's the time, or what time is it. Native speakers do not normally use this way of speaking in informal situations because it sounds awkward or like a robot. Let's meet for lunch at 12:45 p.m. Sounds like a robot? Instead, a native speaker would say, let's meet at noon for lunch. Or if you wanted to be more specific, let's meet at 1:45 for lunch. The third way. The third way is military time. You can say the time using a 24-hour clock and use minutes precisely. It's 02:03 or it's 14:03. If it is 2 o'clock, it's 200 hours in military time. However, this way is only used in old war movies, some European train stations, or radio broadcasts. But anyway, after 12 hours, starting after midnight at 1 a.m., you're going to count 100 hours, 200 hours, all the way up to 1200 hours, which is noon the next day. Then 1 p.m. is actually 1300 hours. Then 2 is 1400 hours, all the way up until midnight, which is 2400 hours. People who use only the numbers 1 through 12, with AM being morning and PM being afternoon and evening, often get confused with 24-hour time. An easy way to count or convert it is to subtract 12. So if it's 1300 hours, you subtract 12 from 13 and you know it's 1 p.m. 1400 hours is 2 p.m., etc. Other time expressions. 12 o'clock can be 12 a.m., which is midnight, or 12 p.m., which is noon. Even native speakers get the AM and PM mixed up, which is why they say at midnight or at noon. In English, we use at instead of in. The word in is used for in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Don't get those mixed up. Many non-native people say at morning, which is incorrect. A lot of my students ask me, when is morning, afternoon, and evening? Morning is typically from sunrise to about 11 a.m. Noon is 12 o'clock, but many people say let's meet around noon, which is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Wild West calls high noon 12 o'clock. Afternoon is from 1 p.m. to rush hour, or the time that people usually go home from a day job, 5 or 6 p.m. Evening is from about 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. After that, it's called nighttime or night. Thank you for visiting the Learn English classroom, and super thank you for supporting my webpage at Buy Me a Coffee.